G'day, my name's David Stone from the Agribusiness Development Institute, or ABDI, and I'm here with Gordon Stone, Director and Founder of the Agribusiness Development Institute. So the purpose of the video today is to talk about a really critical area that's facing so many business owners, which is basically how do I prioritise my time so I can actually get the important things in the business done. So this is a really big issue for business owners, but also for agribusiness owners. So Gordon, do you want to take us through why it's such a big issue?
Yeah, look, Dave, it's really quite simple because most people in the agribusiness sector, in fact all businesses, but in particular agribusiness, have just got so much going on. There's so much to do, so many hats to wear, production things, business things, engaging with the customer, all of those sorts of things. But I guess the reason I want to, be clear about it is this is the notion about working in the business versus working on the business. If you're going to work in the business, you'll have so much to do. If you're going to work on the business, you have to think about being proactive. That's our objective with this discussion.
Okay. So I mean, the focus is really about how do I prioritise my time or my tasks to work out what is the most important thing to do. So you'll definitely have come across thousands of blogs and thousands of bits and pieces of information out there which focuses on these are the top 10 ways to organise your to-do list to improve productivity and all sorts of things like that. But at the end of the day, if you haven't actually really got to the core of the issue and worked out, where is your most productive area, to inform what should the priorities be for you as a business owner, but also just a team member, then there's no real point to actually going and working out what should be on your to-do list because you haven't worked out what the important things are.
Sure.
So I guess at ABDI, what we like to refer to is a concept up here on the board, which is the highest dollar productive zone, or HDPZ for short. So Gordon, do you just want to take us through what that actually involves?
Sure. So if you think of the notion of a highest dollar productive zone, and you think of it in the context of why are we doing what we do, and we're thinking of it about the strengths and weaknesses of the particular people in our team. And there may just be two people in a business. So first thing, we've got to develop our roadmap. Where are we taking this business? Then we've got to ask ourselves, what are we doing to get ourselves to what we call the end point, the end in mind? And so once you've actually determined those things that are most important, which probably are going to be engaging with your customer, it's going to be thinking about the product that I should produce. It's going to be thinking about how do I actually have a conversation with the customer about that product. Then you've actually got to think through, okay, which of those things can I do well? Which are the things that somebody else in the business can do well? Or if none of us can do some of those things well to get us towards that end game, who else do we find? So that's about understanding our strengths and understanding our weaknesses. Then we think, where should I spend my time every day? Highest dollar productive zone, the time I should spend doing what's most important.
And I guess the use of the word dollar is it's important as well because at the end of the day, what we're looking to achieve by focusing on the highest dollar productive zone is where can you actually bring the most value to your business. Whether that's actually in terms of like relationships or it's actually in terms of dollars into the business. It's really about where can you add the most value to your business at that point in time.
Sure.
So just for those that more visual people, so we've got an example here which comes from, it's actually a Franklin Covey leadership example. And it's referred to as putting your big rocks in first. So if you can see here, these are a list of tasks, and you can actually see that these are the big rocks, which are generally considered the most important tasks in the day, which is often around engaging with the customer, making sales to actually bring money into the business. Then you've got what we'd consider to be less important tasks, although still critical. There's things like bookkeeping, and then we move right down to the really, I guess, the lower things, which is dealing with staff complaints and all that sort of stuff.
And Dave, just to interrupt, all of these things are very important. There's no question about it. It's actually just defining the priorities at a point in time. And we've also got another concept called income time and busy time. It's easy to get busy doing some of this stuff, but we've also got to ask ourselves from the income time perspective, where are we going to make the money? And the money is only made when we actually sell a product to a customer.
Sure. So I guess the way to depict this is, and many of you might have actually seen this, is we have one example. So what we need to do is be able to fill up this is actually, considered like a glass jar, and that's depicting our day, and this is about all of the different tasks we have to do within the day. So the first way of doing it is if you have a look at the example of, you decide to fill up, the first things you do within a day are all of the small things. So they're all of the, dealing with staff complaints, it's, getting out and checking the water trough and all that sort of stuff.
We'll almost call it, those are the things that have to be done. At the same time, they may not be absolutely critical as the things that need to be done.
Exactly. So then the next level is then you start throwing in a few of those, let's call them mid-level importance. And then you get to the end of the day and it's like, well, actually, I can only fit in maybe 2 of the really important tasks that I need to do when you've still got several of the important tasks waiting over here. Whereas what you need to really do is flip this on its head, and you need to view it in this other way, which is, if you actually start by putting the big rocks in first, and then you start moving on to the, less important tasks, but still important, then what you'll find is that a lot of these smaller things end up just filtering in and filling in all of the gaps in your day. But the most important thing out of this is the fact that you've actually achieved all of your really important things for the day. So this is just an example of really utilising your highest dollar productive zone to its fullest.
So I guess what we're thinking about here is getting people to go, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to think about, what are my strengths? What are the strengths of those other people in the business? Where are we taking this business in the future? And then thinking every day or every week or every month, as we think about our direction to take us from where we are now to where we want to be, we've always got to be very, very focused on getting the 3 or 4 big rocks in there instead of kind of jamming the 2 big rocks in at the end. So this is the proactive versus the reactive approach, and it's all about understanding where our strengths lie.
And this is one of the biggest things that we actually deal with with the participants and the business owners in our mentoring program, because so many of them have so much trouble, number one, defining what their highest dollar productive zone is, but number 2, actually getting away from, filling their day with, the busy time tasks. So it's something that's really, quite a difficult process that a lot of people have to go through, but at the end of that process, it's just like the light bulb moment where it's like, oh my God, all of a sudden it's like, I can actually get the important things done, not just in my day, but in my month. And all of a sudden, it's just like you start making so much progress towards what your goals are.
So let's just use a hypothetical as we draw this to a close, and it's based on a real example. So it took us actually a couple of mentoring sessions with a couple, male and a female, who actually had a very clear direction that was starting to get crystal clear for them, and they determined that somebody needed to lead the charge. And that was actually the woman who said, look, I'll put up my hand and I'll be the CEO as long as you'll be the joint person who comes with me on the journey. And when I kind of falter, you'll kind of push me along. Then the other conversation was, what's most important in this business right now? The next discussion was, well, we need to engage with the customer. We need to actually build the relationships, and we need to stay connected. The husband said, well, look, not only am I good at that, I enjoy doing it, and that's a very low key thing. So I hope that those give you at the same time, they were dealing with all of their production activities, but they set aside time every week to do those sorts of things. So that's the highest dollar productive zone. That's an idea of strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, well, thanks very much for tuning in today. So if you wanted more information on anything like the highest dollar productive zone, please take some time to have a look through the ABDI website, in particular looking at the upcoming CEO mentoring program where this type of information is really dealt with in quite a lot of detail, and we actually work with business owners to work through these sort of issues. Thanks very much.
Thank you.